For some reason, some people get all the passes. They break the law. They're complicit in crimes against humanity. Crimes which saw millions of people mutilated and killed by an indifferent medical establishment. All the while, raking in millions of dollars for their treachery and deceit. Anthony Mengele Fauci, the orphan experimenting, dog torturing psychopath in charge of our national health, sat at the top of the NIH while scientists there made a staggering $710 million in royalties from private drug companies, which they tried to hide.
NIH scientists made $710 million in royalties from drug makers, a fact that's been hidden. Let's talk about the fact about, is it right for scientists and doctors getting paid by the American people, government taxpayer paychecks, to get patents where they're paid millions and hundreds of millions of dollars in royalty fees, especially when the NIH and these government agencies, most powerful agencies in our country, are recommending medical suggestions and advice and making up guidelines like 6 feet distancing and masking of children. Do you think that's appropriate? Do the American people deserve to be abused like that, Mr. Fauci? Because you're not doctor, you're Mr. Fauci in my few minutes.
And now we have proof from Fauci's own emails that he was lying about everything. The masks, the social distancing, the vaccines, none of it was supported by science. In fact, Fauci came out and confessed that the famous 6-foot social distancing rule was totally made up. He didn't know what it was based on and said it just sort of appeared.
And your science here, your science is displayed perfectly in this picture where children in school were put in plastic bubbles because of your science. Your repulsive, evil science.
In his own email, Fauci said he wasn't aware of any studies proving social distancing worked, and even worse, that he hadn't seen any evidence showing that masking our children would help stop COVID.
This is your own email where you said the typical mask you buy in the drugstore is not really effective in keeping out virus. I do not recommend that you wear a mask. This is your email. This is your own words. But yet children all over America were forced to wear masks. Healthy children forced to wear masks, muzzled in their schools. And then they were forced to learn from home because of your so-called science and your medical suggestions, while you and all your cronies get paid from Big Pharma.
Marjorie Taylor Greene also grilled Fauci over one of the most horrendous atrocities that took place under his leadership: the sickening torture and murder of countless innocent dogs.
As director of the NIH, you did sign off on these so-called scientific experiments. And as a dog lover, I want to tell you this is disgusting and evil, what you signed off on, and these experiments that happened to beagles paid for by the American taxpayer. And I want you to know Americans don't pay their taxes for animals to be tortured like this. So the type of science that you are representing, Mr. Fauci, is abhorrent, and it needs to stop.
That's right. In case you were somehow unaware of Fauci's beagle butchering bona fides, Fauci's division of the NIH carried out untold experiments torturing beagle puppies. Now, Fauci goes on to defend himself by insisting that everything done to the beagles was strictly according to the law. Well, it's good to know the law allows researchers to torture puppies. No, don't worry, these animals aren't being illegally tortured and murdered. They're being legally tortured and murdered. And I think this is a good time to remind everyone that we used to have a leader in charge who did know how to treat beagle puppies.
The NIH and the various departments within the NIH, like the NIAID, led by Dr. Fauci, funds horrific animal testing and has been doing that for decades. So beagles being tortured and abused and used for scientific curiosities, various kinds of testing. This has been going on for a very, very long time. So whether it's the testing that has just been leaked and exposed, or any other kind of testing, that's nothing new.
And when Fauci's not torturing puppies, he's experimenting on orphans with AIDS. I know that sounds like it can't be true, and I wish it weren't. But back in the 80s and 90s, the NIH, under Fauci's direction, tested experimental AIDS drugs on hundreds of foster children. The drugs were given to the children, most of whom who were black or other minorities, without their consent, without proper protocols, and without having independent monitors to watch over the children. All in violation of the law. And if you say, yeah, but Fauci couldn't have known about this, he wasn't directly involved, well, try this. At the time, Fauci was the director of the Office of AIDS, which just sounds like a terrible place to work. So it's ludicrous to think that he wasn't directly involved in and didn't personally approve of using these vulnerable children as guinea pigs. Humans, animals, we're all the same to the doctor of death, Anthony Fauci.
You know that what this committee should be doing? We should be recommending you to be prosecuted. We should be writing a criminal referral because you should be prosecuted for crimes against humanity. You belong in prison, Dr. Fauci.
Whatever you think about Fauci, it is indisputable that he lied about the 6-foot social distancing. He lied about masks. He lied about ivermectin. He lied about hydroxychloroquine. He lied about the lab leak, about lockdowns and natural immunity and gain of function and the safety of the vaccines and how effective they were and their side effects and the boosters and his emails and his research and his experiments on animals.
Fauci belongs in prison. He should be tried for mass murder, and he should be tried for crimes against humanity. That's how I feel after that hearing.
God bless Marjorie Taylor Greene and Jim Jordan and all the rest of our brave lawmakers who are pursuing justice for this criminal because they are the only line of defense left between everyday Americans like you and me and these monsters. For what was done to us in the name of science, we will not forget, and we will not forgive. For One America News, I'm Pearson Sharp.